Listen, smoking can be fun and all, but anyone who's done it consistently knows that it can get stale. If you think about it, it probably makes sense scientifically. After you feel the same stimulus, you'll eventually grow jaded to it. But people who don't smoke almost always take the high experience in entirely new ways. So I decided to get a group of friends together that have never smoked to test this hypothesis. I don't have a lot of friends though, so it was only 2 people, so please don't comment on that. But my lucky individuals were the legend Cameron and my friend Jaime. Jaime showed up to my house first, and completely unannounced to me, he came in full Joker face paint. When I saw this, I got the feeling that this night was gonna be really funny or really scary for Cameron. I didn't know how he'd take this once he saw it high. But eventually, young Cameron pulled up, and I gave the 2 of them edibles because they didn't want to hurt their little lungs. So while we're waiting for these to hit, I really start hyping the whole thing up to these guys. Alright guys, listen, this is gonna actually change your lives. This is gonna be the best experience that you've ever had. And Jaime was like, hee, I'm the Joker. And not even 10 minutes after consumption, Cameron swore he could feel it already. That was cap though. It was all placebo at this point, but he believed it with his whole heart. It didn't help that Jaime started gaslighting him like, yeah, you definitely feel it, man. I think I'm actually starting to feel it too. Holy fuck, I'm so fucking high. So Cameron lays on the bed thinking that he's already high, while Jaime just starts getting into my PC. There was very little time before Jaime just opened Steam and bought Honey Pop with my credit card. Trust me, I didn't own this game beforehand. I got a little pissed because bro really thought he was the Joker and intruded into my things, but the game didn't cost that much, so I let it slide. The only thing I hoped for is that once this gummy hit Jaime, this game didn't make him go off and do something the real Joker would never even think of doing. After 30 minutes, these gummies actually started to hit Cameron, and he explained it was like it felt like he was driving a car. Bro is laying on his back with his arms up in the air like, oh my god guys, I'm going so fast, I can't slow down. And as soon as he stood up from the bed, Jaime charged him holding a yoga ball, screaming, holy fuck, there's a car coming, and launching Cameron back into the bed. Bro would not let Cameron get off the bed. Every time he tried to get up, he just got launched back to where he started. I was watching him get bullied before my very eyes, but I decided not to intervene. So after Cameron got launched a few more times, he started explaining how the impact of every crash was turning his insides into mush. He used the analogy that he felt like an orange that still had the peel intact, but the fruity inside part was smashed. This is when I decided to actually make an intervention, and I stole the yoga ball from Jaime. He was getting a little too in character with that Joker face paint. Jaime started throwing a little hissy fit and crying, so he walked away and started playing Honey Pop again. So I took the opportunity to really interview Cameron. So Big Dog, explain to me how you're feeling, Big Dog. And bro started smacking his lips together super loud. This was some audible lip smacking until he explained, my mouth tastes really good. Like, I feel like I don't have to eat anymore for the rest of my life because my mouth tastes so good. I'm like, damn, that's crazy, Big Dog. And upon further inspection, the reason that he felt this was because all the impact from that yoga ball made him bite his tongue and he was slightly bleeding. I didn't want to bring attention to all that, so my plan as the professional in this situation was to give him yummy food and hopefully he wouldn't notice the blood in his mouth. So I'm like, are any of my little boys hungry? And immediately those two go feral. Those first time munchies hit hard. So I pull up the classic McDonald's Postmates and Jaime takes my phone like, let me pick what I want. I'm the Joker, baby. Chicken nugget. I want chicken nugget. I'm on it. Let's get some of these chicken nuggets. So Jaime starts spamming the chicken nugget button and orders 50 chicken nuggets to my damn house. As an empathetic individual, I knew the long wait for the Postmates to arrive would be harrowing and brutal for these two. I decided I needed a distraction so they wouldn't complain about it taking too long, mainly Jaime. So I pulled out the iPhone projector and started playing Five Nights at Freddy's game theory lore videos because I know Jaime loves those. After not even getting a few minutes into the video, I came to the realization this was actually a terrible mistake because it started to make Jaime genuinely tweet. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is the worst thing to ever happen to the series. What is Blood yapping about?
I don't know, man. I'm really hungry.
It totally has all the pieces for a dream theory to be true, but no. Is this like an issue? Like, should we stop him? I don't know if this is bad for his health. Why is the Chica toy missing its beak? I don't know, man. And what the fuck is Juniors? Why don't people realize FNAF 3 takes place in 2015? 30 years refers to 30 years since the original murders in 1985. Not 30 years since the first game. That makes no sense. Luckily, the Postmates notification cut him off and it was chicken nugget time. Let's go. So we ran downstairs, got the food, ran upstairs, but as me and Cameron got to the bedroom, we decided we needed water with the nuggets so that we didn't choke to death. Before we went back downstairs though, I decided to snap a little picture of the scene in front of me. Because seeing Jaime in Joker face paint playing Honey Pop with 50 chicken McNuggets was something I didn't want to forget. But unknown to us, this would quickly become a top 10 moments caught before disaster image. So we go downstairs, fill up the water in the slow refrigerator faucet and head on up. And in that short amount of time, Jaime had eaten every single one of the 50 chicken nuggets. What the fuck happened to the nuggets, dude? Oh my god, no, why? And he just stared and laughed. The worst part is he didn't even eat these nuggets because he was hungry. He ate them because he thought it would be funny if we came back and they were all gone. And considering that he ate 50 nuggets in the period of a few minutes, it didn't take long for Jaime to run to the bathroom throwing up. And honestly, he deserved it at this point. Bro has been acting a fool for hours. He deserves to feel some of the pain he inflicts on others for a change. Immediately after he finished at the toilet, he got right back to playing more Honey Pop as if nothing happened. He had a serious grind to commit to still. Cameron, on the other hand, wasn't feeling all that great after the nugget disaster. Bro was crying his eyes out and bleeding from the mouth like, I'm so hungry, bro. Is there any more food left, bro? Yeah, dude, there is. I just need to go get it from the kitchen. So I gave Cameron the iPad with Cocomelon while I went to order more McDonald's. Cameron immediately became demobilized and fell into the Cocomelon trance. But unbeknownst to him, I was about to pull a little debauchery on him because I wasn't about to pay for another McDonald's order. I went downstairs into my kitchen trying to find some good mulch for the boys to eat. I came back with a big bag of Doritos and told the lads that I got the new McDonald's Doritos, my boys. They taste so good. They're way better than the standard ones. And that was enough for him to immediately forget about what Jaime did. I tried to go up to Jaime and ask, so bro, like, how does it feel for you right now? And the only response he would say is, fuck man, I'm so fucking high, man, holy fuck. To then immediately lock back in and play more Honey Pop. I don't know why he was so locked into this game, dude. Like, he either truly wanted to play this goofy video game all night, or he was just so committed to playing a character that he wouldn't break it for a second. The only eventful moment beyond this was when Cameron dropped the iPad on his face. It seemed that at this point, the night had brought itself to a stalemate. Going back to my hypothesis, the gummies happened to turn Jaime into more of an evil person than he usually is, and it turned Cameron into a toddler. To be honest, I don't think they took it very differently as non-smokers, but also maybe I chose the worst sample group imaginable, I don't know. But anyways, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye! The Pendulum to a stoner is the equivalent to a peasant's potato farm, meaning it's quite literally the bread and butter of our lives. Because of that, most people end up smoking them for their first time. But for me, this was my second time. I was posted up inside Big Bro Roderick's incredible house one winter evening. We both felt awesome with very impressive looks on our faces. There were supposedly big plans this evening because Roderick was like, I know these 4 people having the biggest, most awesome party tonight, which sounded grand, but there was one problem. Do I know these people though? No. Do they know me? Yes. And that was enough for me to be a little bit hesitant. I don't know, man. They could bully me. Don't sweat it, chap. One little dinghy off this port bow and you'll feel on top of the world. Holy crap, what's that? What is that?
It's weed.
Boom! This was a top 10 bomba-clot moments of my entire life. As I mentioned, I had only ever smoked one time before this, and the parasites in my brain were starting to speak to me. The same parasitic voices that tell me to peek corners in Valorant, gamble more money, and generally overextend on things I shouldn't were firing. Alright, Roderick, we've done this once before. I don't see the harm in going for a second. Oh god, it hurts so badly. You can't go crazy like that, bro. You gotta take your time. Oh, alright, I'll do it gently. Are you good, bro?
Yeah.
Alright, my boy, let's head out and drive to this shindig. As we start to drive, all this time in the car allows me to grasp the gravity of the situation I'm in. The world started to change around me in ways I didn't understand, and I felt an awe-inspiring feeling in my fingertips. I could not act right, and I started to go crazy until immediately locking in, because I was about to enter a home I didn't know with 4 people I also don't know.
Hey, bro, if they see me like this, what do you think they'll think of me?
Oh, I think you're gonna be all good, bro. Oh my god! I had a bad case of the poo-poo eyes from those Benjamin tokes.
You look awesome, dude. You'll be okay. Just put on these cool shades and they'll be very impressed with your style.
Whoa, I feel like I'm #1, dude. So as we pull up to the house, there's only one single objective on my mind. I need to convince each of these people that I'm sober, because if they see me high, they're gonna think I'm an addicted bum. We walk in through the front door and there's already a major fork in my plans. Roderick had actually brought me to the hose. I don't even know how to act around the hose when I'm sober, and those pen hits gave me slurp juice brain. Luckily, there was only this one girl named Sarah as we walked in, but I kid you not, she looked exactly like the Fortnite Sunstrider skin. God threw a level 10 baddie my way, and I started getting anxiety, but I couldn't forget the objective at hand. I can't let Sunstrider find out that I'm high. Yo, what's up, Sarah? This is Ninye.
Oh my god, Roderick has told me so much about you.
Alright, I can't mess up my first introduction. Yo, haha, that's awesome. Okay, that wasn't bad. Alright, I'm gonna go say hi to everyone else. Bye, guys. God damn it, now I'm all alone with her.
So why are you wearing those shades in the middle of the night?
Off rip, she's going for my weak spot. I gotta change the subject. Are you very impressed with my style? Fuck.
Yeah, you look really cool.
This is too stressful. I need to go somewhere to blow off a little steam. Alright, where's the bathroom? So we go upstairs and she shows me to the little man's room, and I start doing push-ups on the ground like, ugh, fuck yeah, ugh. I'm trying to get a little pump in an attempt to get my head back in the game. But while grunting and moaning on the floor, I can see Sunstrider's feet from under the little crack of the door on the floor. So hopefully, she didn't get the wrong idea from my sounds. But I waste no time to text Roderick, I'm afraid of the hose, bro. In which he replies, don't worry, I'll clutch up for you. So as I leave the bathroom, Roderick comes upstairs with a deck of Uno cards and a bottle of vodka and starts telling us rules like, you two gotta drink every time you draw a card. Sarah, you go first. Bro is taking some big dog initiative in this situation. And then Roderick essentially just falls back down the stairs. Now I'm pretty much locked into playing Uno with this one girl at this point. But I start dicing her up with these draw 4s like I'm a professional at this. And in no time, Sunstrider starts getting all bomba clot from the drink. She starts getting into all this girl talk like,
I fucking hate my friend Melissa. She fucked my ex-boyfriend last week.
And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Well, I keep pulling out these draw 4s like nobody's business. Somehow before I knew it, Sunstrider had inched her way to sitting right next to me. She starts taking whole swigs from the bottle and looks at me like,
you haven't drank anything yet. You can't be the only sober one.
Let's fucking go! This whole time I had successfully masked the fact that I was high, and her saying that just confirmed it. So I take a celebratory swig, but then she starts doing some weird shiz, like putting her hand on my thigh like,
fuck Melissa anyways.
But it turns out she drank more than she could handle because she couldn't control the volume of her voice, and she said that really loudly. Before we know it, this girl runs upstairs like,
what the fuck did you just say?
Turns out Melissa was at the party and heard everything. The 2 other girls come running up from behind Melissa, and a whole fight starts breaking out before I could process what was about to happen to me. Even this girl's little brother walks out of some bedroom. I didn't even know he was in the house, but he starts to get involved in this. I'm just sitting on the floor watching it all unfold until Roderick slowly walks up the stairs behind them and beckons me to come over to him. He's like, yo, I don't know what's going on, but we should probably leave. I'm down, bro. This place is getting a little too heated for me. So we sneak out the front door and drive away. I start telling Roderick about what happened with me completely washing this girl in Uno with no remorse for her soul, and he drops the biggest plot twist of the night. It turns out he had rigged the cards and made every other card draw in my favor so that the girl would drink more and make the situation less awkward with me. So if there's any takeaway from this story, take your time with the Benjamin because it hits very hard. Before you know it, you'll get anxiety from the hose. I haven't gotten high in school very often, and anyone who has gotten high in school would know why. It always sounds like a good idea at first, but in practice, it can be so goddamn scary. Now, this story isn't just about me getting high, but instead the whole squad was smoking in class. And under those circumstances in mind, you know shit had to have gone down, and it did. So it was the first day back to school from summer break, and it was the morning of that day before the classes had started. As the nature of the first day of school goes, I was pissed off, and so was my boy Roderick, the same guy from the mushroom story. We were pissed we had to be back in this place, but it also was sick to see everyone I didn't see over the summer. So we were greeting everyone in the grade, catching up in the hallways, when none other than the man himself, Kevin, comes through the doors, beelines straight to the two of us and whispers in our ears, "Bro, meet me in the handicapped stall real quick. I got something to tell you." Which, may I add, is an insane way to greet someone on the first day back from summer break, but we followed him into the bathroom to see what was up. As we walked in, Kevin is standing on the toilet like he is about to give a speech to us and says, "Guys, none of the three of us want to be here. Wouldn't you guys agree?" And we nodded our heads in agreement. "Then why don't we go somewhere else?" And this guy pulls out not just one, but 3 different wax pens, and our mouths are agape. Keep in mind, I rarely smoked at this time, so to see not just 1, but 3 wax pens that this dude had brought into the school was the craziest thing I had ever witnessed. I was like, no way we're smoking right here and right now. And Kevin said, "Not yet. See, I've been dreading the first day of school for a long time now, so I've thought up a way to make it a little more interesting. I want to play a game. We each carry a pen on us for the entirety of the day. Every time somebody says some dumb shit, you have to take a hit. And if you don't get caught all day, you get to keep the pen. But if you get caught, you owe me $50. In one moment, I was going about my ordinary day in school, and in the next, I'm choosing which pill I'm gonna take, and you know I took the green pill, and so did Roderick. I won't lie, the speech had us getting hyped in this bathroom stall. If anyone was in the bathroom at the time, I feel like they probably would have gotten the wrong idea. But anyways, we had to plan our day. We all brought out our schedules to see which classes we shared. I shared Spanish with Roderick, math I was with both, English I was alone for, and study hall I had the 2 of them again. But the bell rang and me and Roderick headed over to Spanish and departed from Kevin. As we walked into the classroom, we agreed we wouldn't sit next to each other, so if one person came down, the other wouldn't come down with them. And it would be easier to stay undercover, so we both sat in the back corners of the class. The class started and the teachers were going over the syllabus when this kid raised his hand and asked, "When we get our assignments, do you want our names in English or Spanish?" Me and Roderick just stared at each other from across the class after that. We knew what we had to do. As soon as the teacher turned around to the whiteboard, we took a hit, but then she turned around and we just had to hold in the smoke until she turned around again. And once I did, I started coughing loud. I couldn't hold it in that long. So I crossed my arms and put my head down, and no one thought anything of it, but it was close. The class went on and we got out of that one safe, although those wax pens, if you've ever smoked them before, hit hard. So even though I only took 1 hit, I was already feeling it as we walked to math. We got to the class first, and as Kevin walked in, he looked so fucked up. I was like, "Bro, what happened to you?" And all he replied with was, "It was Liam, bro." And then just took a seat before I could respond. Lord have mercy on his soul. Let me tell you, math was a dreadful class to get through. Not because of the challenge. We didn't even have to smoke once during this period. It was just the munchies, bro. Lunch was the next period, and I was fiending for that school lunch. The most entertaining thing that happened to that class was that I sat across from Kevin, staring him straight on, and he just kept nodding out of existence and coming back. This guy was on another planet, and it was only 10 in the morning. Once lunch came, I spent like $20 on snacks, but they were all out of the vending machine, which was a process I did not have the patience for. Waiting for the food to come down just felt like an eternity. The squad linked up, and I tried to get more information on what happened to Kevin during first period. Can you elaborate on what happened to you earlier, bro? Liam, bro, he had to introduce himself, and he said he likes kids. He didn't realize how bad that sounded, bro. But he really said it. And to be honest, me and Roderick, we just decided to take a hit right there after hearing that out of respect for what he had gone through. Once the bell rang, I started stressing because my next class was alone. I lost my supports and I had to face English class like a real stoic man. I sat down. I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I do know that some kid said something that I had to smoke to. So I had to take a hit. Then the guy next to me leans over and looks into my eyes and just nods. I was sitting next to the school stoner Bradley. Bradley saw this and asked, "Yo, can I get one, bro?" So respectfully, I handed him the pen and with no remorse for his own life proceeded to blow it straight into the air, and of course the teacher noticed and walked over. I thought it was all over for me in this moment, but he just ended up sending Bradley to the office. But the thing is that he still had my pen on him when he left. This guy, 200 IQ, outplayed me and purposefully got sent to the office so he could take the pen for himself. I don't know if that was actually his plan, but that's just what it seemed like to me. Once English ended, I walked into study hall, and this part was the hardest part of the challenge to overcome. If you've had study hall before, you know how silent the class is. So I'm trying to tell these two how I got my pen stolen, but I'm so high I cannot control how loud I'm being, and I just can't communicate what happens. I guess they both deemed that to be smokable, so they both took a hit, and as they exhaled, I couldn't help but just laugh at myself, and I laughed loudly, which alerted the teacher and got Roderick and Kevin caught. But since I got my pen stolen, I got away from it. I didn't have anything on me. They got sent to the front office, and I had to wait out the next hour of this class in an excruciating silence, just paranoid that somebody was gonna come after me. But at the end of the day, nothing happened of it, so I technically won the challenge and got to keep the pen. But since it got stolen, I really just got nothing. But I'm glad I won though, because if I had lost, I would have had to fork over $50 and a new pen. So I dodged a bullet there. So while I didn't get anything, at least I didn't lose.
Boys, I don't know what went wrong in the world, but somewhere in Atlanta, I imagine some business dudes were probably like, the nationwide epidemic of kids addicted to their vapes is genius. We need to hop on the wave for that bag. Any ideas?
I've got an idea.
Let's hear it.
Okay, imagine a whippet
Yes?
without the whipped cream,
Yes?
with tons of fun flavors,
Yes?
marketed as a whipped cream dispenser so we can legally sell it.
You're a genius! The kids are gonna love this! And somehow Lil Business Dude was right, because that stuff got into Walmarts across the country. From there, all it took was Kanye and Lil T picking it up, recording a TikTok, and sending it out into the world. And now the epidemic of galaxy gas has taken over.
But Ninye, galaxy gas sounds out of this world.
For real, haven't you seen Rick and Morty? Alright, this ain't no Pickle Rick, because the price of smoking this low-key makes you tweak out Golden Freddy style. Because when you really break it down in life, there's a cost to everything. That'll be $39.99, sir. Like, hey, when you scroll brain rot, you pay in your attention span. When vaping, you pay in lung capacity and aura. Hey, you need to pay for that. And when inhaling a canister of galaxy gas, you pay in IQ points, literally killing your brain cells. And also your aura. Excuse me, sir, did you just murder that person? Oh, Not to get real scientifical, but galaxy gas is just flavored nitrous oxide, aka the enchanted whippet, aka laughing gas.
Oh, I love laughter.
But this shit ain't nothing to laugh about, dog. It's probably like a 5 on the lethality scale. You need the vape and skibbity toilet crafting recipe because this shit is literal canned brain rot.
Oh, I love skibbity toilet.
You are beyond saving, bruh. This shit literally causes hypoxia by
depriving the brain of oxygen and killing brain cells?
Don't believe me? Here's a correlative chart of people doing galaxy gas with the performance of the Ninja YouTube channel. With all that being said, this stuff is still making rounds with the youngins. Fiends are lined up outside Walmart or getting that Bezos special on Amazon to try this stuff. It seems people just love getting that dopamine fix no matter the cost. It's almost as if intelligent life was a mistake and it wants to go back. You know what I'm saying? Call it the orb of confusion, the way it makes your brain slowly die. And I ain't no doctor, but kids huffing nitrous oxide and killing their brains in school has got to be worse than sucking vapes and killing their lungs. So I got a real life doctor to fact check me. Oh yeah, the fucking lungs aren't as important as your brain. Now realistically, the only people doing galaxy gas are dudes that want to try it once out of curiosity, regular users with genuine brain damage. There's a few people in wheelchairs from nerve damage, Kanye West, and lastly, me, exactly 2 weeks ago.
But Ninja, you can't do galaxy gas. You just told us how harmful it is.
Alright, listen, if I'm gonna start barking about this, I gotta be willing to bite. For investigative sake, I've put my life at stake here to see what the hype was about, and if galaxy gas is truly as harmful as people say it is. So locked in at Walmart, I start looking around for some galaxy gas. But like, where the fuck do you even look for galaxy gas? I don't know if this is in the culinary aisle, the pharmacy, my fat ass big back was in the bakery. So I go up to the employee like, yo, do perchance you guys potentially have a canister of galaxy gas in stock? Which is already top 3 humiliating bum moments of my life. Next to when I close Instagram Reels, only to immediately open the app again. And when Twin found out that Ninja was fucking with the school boss. So Walmart dude's like, the fuck is galaxy gas? He looks it up in the little Walmart inventory doohickey and turns out that stuff is sold out. If you want, man, I can have it shipped to the store. And this may have been the top 1 degenerate bum moments of my life. But I chose to ship galaxy gas to Walmart. And 2 days later, I woke up bright and early with a smile on my face and the birds chirping in the windowsill combo. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Life was feeling all sunshine and rainbows because I knew a fresh canister of galaxy brain rot was waiting for me at Walmart. So I head over and acquire that stuff, finally able to see what all the hype was about and finally able to see if this would be the end of my life. But I wasn't about to die alone. I had to make this an event and gather the whole squad together. We're all standing around this canister like, guys, I think we all know what we should be doing first here. Does galaxy gas actually make whipped cream taste better? As complete bullshit as this product's marketing is, this is technically the intended use. We got the heavy whipped cream sugar connected to the dispenser infused with nitrous oxide, and after shaking vigorously, we had created what could only be described as the shittiest whipped cream that we have all ever consumed in our entire life. What the fuck, bro? What the fuck is this shit? Now, let's actually try this. Who's doing this first?
Boys, I should do it last to build dramatic suspense for the video.
Truthfully, I wanted to do it last because if somebody died here, it wouldn't be me. All right, boys, I guess I'll do it first. Wait, I want to do it.
No.
Roman starts inhaling this. Unbeknownst to us, he hit the galaxy gas way longer than he should have. We didn't know what we were doing. Roman then proceeds to completely fall backwards onto the ground. Oh shit, he's having a seizure.
Oh my god.
He needs CPR. CPR?
Hey bro, why'd you do that to him? What the fuck?
Yo, guys. We got the ambulance on the way, dog. You'll be all right. Nah, guys.
I'll resuscitate him.
Guys, I'm fine. This feeling, it feels otherworldly. Oh, for real? Let me try this. And then Roderick started to dance and prance around the room. This was unsettling. Bro lost himself in the feeling. But next up was Adam. All right, boys, let's give this a try. Stone cold, as if eldritch horrors had appeared before his very eyes. I don't know what happened inside of Adam's mind in that moment, but it was not good. But since the 3 soldiers were still alive, it was inevitably my turn. I inhale the galaxy gas, and what happened was that I felt lightheaded for approximately 8 seconds before returning to normal. That was fucking it? People die for that? This shit pissed me off. It didn't even feel that good. This wasn't even worth the inconvenience of going to Walmart. I was left more confused than before I tried it. Fuck Galaxy Gas. For real, bro, this shit is ass. And we threw it off the balcony of Adam's $10 million house, never to be seen again because nothing good ever comes from Atlanta.
I feel like everyone's first time eating edibles involves disappointment, quickly followed by a wave of high hitting like the GTA 5 train. It's just unstoppable, leaving yourself floating at the mercy of the sea of THC, just hoping you didn't get too high. It's the classic these edibles ain't shit dilemma. And in my case, my first edibles really were shit because the mixture of THC in these brownies I got were just not evenly spread throughout. I got my first edibles from this one kid I went to school with. I didn't really know the guy, but I knew Roman and he knew the guy, so I trusted the guy. He had baked his own edible brownies he was selling at school, so I decided to jump on the opportunity and I bought 3 of them for Cole, Roman, and me. We got through our day of school with the weekend ahead of us, so we decided to all assemble at Roman's place that night and eat the brownies. And if anything bad were to happen, we had Saturday and Sunday to recover from this. So it's around 6 p.m. and the 3 of us are all bunkered down in Roman's bedroom. We had prepared for the munchies, so we had boxes of Oreos, bags of Doritos, and 3 Happy Meals for the 3 of us. We got our brownies and we prepared to enter the high. Wherever this brownie takes us, we don't know. We could very well come out of this new men. Let us surrender to the high in complete acceptance. There's no fighting what's to come. So after the epic speech, we eat our brownies and we start playing Minecraft. We make a new world with the hopes that we'll make some weird stuff we can look back on when we're sober, but I won't lie, we don't end up playing the game for very long. Just about every 4 or 5 minutes, we're all like, feel anything yet? No. Nah. Damn, I hope we didn't get scammed. After 30 minutes or so pass, Cole just falls over and starts laughing. These brownies hit him hard. Almost as hard as the carbon monoxide poisoning that will be taking out Chains for Real on the 16th of October, 2023 at 4:08 a.m. The 2 of us turn around and this dude is already shredding into the Happy Meal with no remorse. Damn, that shit must have really hit. Seeing Cole act a fool had some kind of chain reaction on me because I started to feel these brownies almost right away and I started tearing into my Happy Meal with no remorse. We get our toys out and at the time McDonald's had Frozen 2 toys, so I got this man that looks like he's made out of literal shit and Cole got the same guy. These toys were also projectiles, so we're just shooting each other with the shit man and losing it. This whole time Roman is just sitting here sober as a doorknob. I mentioned how the THC wasn't spread evenly throughout the brownies. What ended up happening with that was Roman didn't get high at all, while Cole and I got a super concentrated part of the batch. So we're having a good time while Roman just has to assume the parental figure position for the night. It's unfortunate, but Roman never experiences fortune, so it is what it is. The 2 of us completely ignore Minecraft to destroy every crumb of food we have. I start getting thirsty, so I leave the room and I start walking to the kitchen. I see Roman's mom coming in my direction, so I quickly just make a turn to go into the bathroom to avoid her. When I walk into the bathroom, it feels so still. It's a little cold and there's not a sound. I stare at myself in the mirror for like 10 minutes without breaking eye contact, and I just think to myself, damn, I'm really just a guy on drugs right now. My thoughts get broken by a loud thump from outside the room, so I go out and I go back to the bedroom and I just see all the Happy Meal boxes crushed flat on the ground. Cole is just walking around talking about Don Juan, some Spanish dude that seduces women, I guess. I don't really know. I'm like, yo, what was that noise? And I don't even know what Roman said back to me because I just enter a new dimension in this moment. I don't know what it is, but I'm just hit so hard. I tune out the entire external world and get taken somewhere entirely different. I lay on the bed and just focus all my attention on the sound of the Minecraft soundtrack that's still playing on the game we abandoned. Me and the bed just become one being, and I'm like this for the rest of the night. I don't even notice it, but Cole and Roman leave the room, and apparently they went off on a walk and got chased by a dog or something. I'm not all too sure because I was gone and out for the rest of the night, but that's just what they told me. The next morning, I woke up feeling super tired, but it was also kind of a nice tired. I just felt chill. Roman was fine, but Cole's pants had an entire bottom half of the leg ripped off. I was in such a chill mindset, I didn't even bother to ask, but it seemed like those two really went through some shit. Once the night was over and I had successfully done my first edible, I look back on it glad that Roman didn't get to experience it at all, because fuck him.
If there's one thing I know, it's alcohol addiction. And being the amazing YouTuber that I am, I've decided to bless you goblins with the divine knowledge of a true alcoholic's 31 levels of alcohol addiction. So if you ever plan on becoming an alcoholic like myself, you'll know exactly what to expect. Stage 1, partying. I'd be lying if I said partying every weekend for about 6 months straight didn't contribute to my addiction's early stages. I mean, going out, getting wasted, and pulling all the finest of ladies all the time just feels so awesome, and I wasn't about to ever stop. And let me tell you, it was well worth the disease that I picked up from them. Stage 2, drinking every day. At this point, I would drink a beer almost every single day, regardless of what it was I was doing. If you have a wife and kids, this is usually the stage where you'll notice they start to get a little concerned. Not that you should pay any mind to them, I'm just saying that'll probably happen. Stage 3, complacency. You simply give up on working and stay at home watching TikToks all day. As you increasingly gain weight and become a true slob melded together with your couch, you start to really feel more awesome than usual. Stage 4, depression. The true weight of what you've become will start to set in, and admittedly, you get a little sad sometimes. I remember once when I was in this phase, I spent 6 hours crying and trying to drown my sorrows in whiskey before being just like Drake and going out like a light over the toilet. Stage 5, abandonment. I remember at this stage, my wife and kids left me, and I had to split half of everything I owned with her, and so I moved into a small apartment studio that's about 300 square feet in total. This is why you should never sign a prenup. Being alone and abandoned isn't all that bad when you think about the samurai way, and how they stay disciplined and strong on a rigorous and lonely path to find true happiness. Being an alcoholic is a lot like that. Stage 6, more alcohol. Yep, you guessed it. After my family left me, I drank more because I had nothing holding me back. Stage 7, drugs. I discovered weed at this stage because it really helped me take the edge off. Stage 8, more drugs. I discovered meth at this stage because it really helped me take the edge off. Stage 9, cool music. At this point, you'll find yourself feeling a little more adventurous with your music taste, so you'll branch out and find that you enjoy way more music than you originally thought you would. Stage 10, despair. I would have taken stage 4 over this any day. Stage 11, agony. I would have taken stage 10 over this one any day. Stage 12, bargaining. At this stage, you will beg your wife and kids to come back to you with empty promises and by also giving them false hope. God, I miss her. Stage 13, buying services. I can't say what this is exactly for YouTube reasons, but imagine you see one of those fine ladies on the street and you give her a little cash and go back to a motel for the most epic 30 seconds of your life. Stage 14, financial ruin. After supporting so many young ladies' small businesses, all the money you've been living off of and saved up your whole life is now run dry. I was on the streets for months. Stage 15,
contemplation. You will really start thinking here. All these thoughts you have will really get you thinking real good, and you'll really think and contemplate in deep thought, and just don't think about her. It hurts too much. Stage 13, rehab. Getting clean was probably the best thing I could have done for myself because I got a job, a new house, and my life became really stable again. Stage 13, relapse. With all this money, you're finally able to afford all that alcohol you couldn't have when you were broke. Stage 18, abduction. I was walking around my local town after a few dozen drinks when a suspicious vehicle took me. Dark, human-like figures towered over me and subjected my body to experiments that weren't very nice. I can only imagine that every alcoholic goes through a stage as wild and consequential as this one, and if not, you're clearly not drinking enough. Stage 19. Time skip. Apparently those figures held on to me a little longer than I thought because by the time I was back, my small little peasant village no longer existed and a few hundred years had passed. Stage 20, alcohol again. Damn, let me tell you, this future alcohol is friggin' sweet. Sheesh. Stage 21, money. You turn in all your possessions to a pawn shop because they're now antiques and you get very rich. Stage 22, buying future services. This was awesome. Let me tell you, all these techniques they come up with will blow your mind for some of the best 30 seconds you'll ever have. If you want to see what exactly they did, subscribe to Ninja Plus. Stage 23, returning home. With the last of your funds, you buy a time machine and go back home. Stage 24, grind. Now that you're back home, you have a lot of modern drinks to catch up on, so you better get chugging. Stage 25, arson. Burn her house down for leaving you. Stage 26, evasion. Now that you're a convicted criminal, you gotta run from the law. In my personal experience, going to Canada has worked pretty sweet for me. Stage 27, you don't want to know. Stage 27. Stage 28, power. Now that you're part of the mob, you have a lot of power at your fingertips. I mean, you can kind of do whatever you want here, really. So beyond this point, the stages may vary a bit from person to person, you know what I mean? Stage 29, go to the bathroom. Since you've been holding it in this whole time since becoming an alcoholic, I would highly recommend going to the bathroom, but I'm not your dad, so you can do whatever I want. Stage 30, bowling string. Since you're such an important figurehead behind the scenes of multiple governments, you can now mold the world how you see fit. So make sure to give yourself an edge over any and all competition you face, and take that edge off with a little Hennessy while you're at it. Stage 23, become a YouTuber. You heard me right. Not only is this a stage of alcoholism video, but it doubles as a tutorial on how to become a world famous YouTuber just like me. So make sure to follow these steps exactly, otherwise you messed up and you'll never amount to anything in your short meaningless existence. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye. Waking up after 3 hours of gut-churning nightmares and immediately deciding now seems like a good blinker time is something I know very well. Just look at these big old red eyes. I'm always off that Gupta, my boy. But today, the day has come when I turn my backs on all of you. I hate weed. There isn't a single thing about it I enjoy anymore. But Ninja, this isn't supposed to happen, you traitor. I hate you. Listen, I understand your pain. This is like when your grandma gets Alzheimer's, you know what I mean? A real how the mighty has fallen moment, you could say. Because if there's one thing I'm known for, besides stealing Royal Pear's entire flow on YouTube Shorts, it's stealing Change for Real's entire flow on long-form videos. And Change for Real's whole thing was being the high stick man, which he technically stole from Mostly True, but that guy just kind of stopped uploading. But this made the whole high stick man subgenre. The core of my audience is formed from these little goblins who love ripping their pendulums at all waking hours. When they see a 5th grade level drawing get high, they all clap their hands simultaneously and cackle like feral drooling hogs. But with that being said, I'm here to say that I've changed as a man these past 2 years. I'm turning my back on the culture and changing up on all of you. I'm not about that life anymore. So if you hate me, I understand, but I don't hate you because you've made me a lot of money. Back in my prime though, let me tell you, I used to love it. I started just a level 1 crook in high school, only indulging when a friend would offer. But by college, I became a level 20 hitman, sitting in my dorm room, getting bare minimum grades in my community college prerequisite classes. Back in those times, nothing was quite like the freedom of hitting a blinker and going on quests.
Through those quests, I'd gain experience to become the level 100 mob boss top dog I am now. And around then, I was making the Stickman videos too, receiving monetary compensation for my little smoking thing I had going on. It never escalated into some terrible addiction because I'm not a stupid person probably. I wasn't about to slippery slope myself into a Logan Paul situation for the sake of a little YouTube ad revenue, if that sentence even remotely makes any sense. But it did eventually get to the point where I'd look at myself in the mirror and be like, what am I doing with my life? And when that happens, you gotta lock in and look inward. Start asking yourself the big questions about yourself. Don't ask yourself big questions when you're high though. You'll probably start to plunge into existential despair and crash the fuck out. But I'll admit, I started making that mistake. I started crashing the fuck out every time. Because every time I would smoke, I'd start punching my bed sheets and gripping my pillows. Not literally, but something did snap inside of me and it started to give me anxiety, which isn't an uncommon occurrence at all. Apparently with some people, it's like a flip switches and all of a sudden they can't get high without battling internal demons. And I was in my damn head fighting for my damn life. I just have more responsibilities than before, so I stress about all that. I got 2 employees to edit my videos, bro. I have livelihoods depending on me. I've got a 30-year mortgage and a 401k. I can't be smoking weed while I have a retirement fund. You could say that the very thing that had made me was the same thing that was destroying me. Clearly, the puzzle piece of weed isn't fitting into my autistic brain anymore, which is honestly fine. If you really think about it, being high is just a feeling. I can get that feeling through other means, like finding love. So this began the actually quitting weed arc, and I had to crawl myself out the damn hole I done put myself into. It was for real like Vinland Saga, when he had to crawl out of hell and all of my viewers were the dead souls, pulling me down to keep me smoking weed. Now, my best method to quitting was just going cold turkey and enduring the pain until it stopped hurting anymore. But this method proved to be quite the formidable foe. I didn't get the symptoms as bad as most people, but the loss of appetite and insomnia had some kick to it. Not eating as much was actually goated for the cut though, because now I look strong like a cow. But the insomnia made me scream in anguish. Most nights I'd lie there barely able to feel a damn drop of tiredness. So naturally, I'd start roaming the streets of the night. If you had seen me wandering around in the darkness during this peak of my insomnia, you would have mistaken me for a damn zombie from Call of Duty, moaning in incomprehensible tongues, not fit for the human mind to comprehend. Honestly, it was pretty miserable, but every so often there would occasionally be nights that just hit. With me trapping downtown with Juice WRLD blasting in my AirPod Pros, it was literally just like GTA. But those nights were honestly very far and few between. And occasionally, I would even try to hit up some of my buddies to maybe try and distract myself a bit. But every single friend of mine is a ghoul, constantly chiefing the Benjamin to Blinkerton City on their unhinged and demented grind. But saying as I'm a changed man, there were some downright incomprehensible moments that came about. Like how one time, Big Rod was trying to go crazy on his shits, but then he looked me up and down and asked, "You want it?" And I started drooling. I wanted it. But in my head, I had to imagine Sisyphus pushing the boulder, you feel me? This was a moment of weakness and I wasn't about to give in. I pushed through and told him, "No, I actually don't want it." And his mouth immediately crashed all the way to the floor and into the pavement, and his eyes sunk into his head and he started to quiver as tears welled up in his eyes. These little hangouts were temptations so intense, I had to cut all my friends off, and now I don't have any friends anymore in my life. After about 2 weeks though, the loss of appetite and insomnia had finally started going away. It was like a great fog was lifted. The brain fog had cleared. It was honestly comparable to the sunshine finally shining through after a super cloudy day. Things were looking good for your personal friend Ninja here, and the little get-togethers I would have with my friends became much better since the temptations were now finally 1 foot out the door. Those impulsive thoughts I'd have about bashing in my friends' heads with cinder blocks or large stones had finally dissipated. So I knew I was making moves in the right direction. I was finding God and inner peace with myself to the likes of Uncle Iroh, growing wiser and kinder with every every passing day. And just like Uncle Iroh, my ultimate physique had gone into full swing, and now I am an unstoppable monster of which the world is not ready to handle yet. If a real life Batman came into existence, just know it would definitely not be me, and I would never don the cape to fight the good fight. And now that I'll never smoke for the rest of my life, I think it's time to rebrand the Ninja character. Just kidding, that would be bad for business. But going forward, I'll probably still smoke a little, and I'll make stories from that here and there if I'm being honest. It'll just be very rare that I do that. I'll keep it for special occasions. Old Ninja still has some old stories in the mental vault as well. Some that I haven't yet told, so that could be potential future videos too, you never know. But anyways, now I'm gonna fly out to Iowa for the rest of the summer to be a farmer with Roman. So look out for the farming video in the near future. Okay, subscribe, bye.
I recently bought an Airbnb to stay in for 50 hours and get deviously high for the entire time period. Every 5 hours that passed, my beautiful friend Cameron would spin a giant wheel with various different challenges I would have to complete. By default, every 5 hours, I would also eat a 25 milligram edible, progressively getting higher and higher as the challenge went on. But if I failed the challenge, Cameron would force me to eat an additional 2 gummies, which, you know, would probably end up with me passed out if I failed too many. For the first 5-hour block, Cameron spun that massive wheel and got make a PowerPoint. So I eat my gummy and start thinking about what I'm going to make this PowerPoint about. I'm looking around this Airbnb room for inspiration, but there's not much to work with. But then I feast my eyes upon something great. It was one of those corny Christian house decor items, and I thought, yeah, I can work with this. I got to work tirelessly on this PowerPoint. Although those gummies started to hit halfway through, so it took me a bit longer than I anticipated, that was nothing the Lord's strength couldn't handle. After hours of endless work, I had a finished product to present to Cameron. Alright, Cameron, so this is why Jesus Christ should definitely smoke weed by Ninja. Let's be honest here, he's still a person at the end of the day, just like me and you. And I bet being the Holy Lord comes with a lot of stress and anxiety. I bet smoking weed would really help him out with that. Let's do a little activity. Let's count on our hands how many of our friends believe in the Lord's faith. Yeah, that's right, not a single one. The youth are quickly losing faith, but smoking weed will make Jesus way cooler and way more relatable to younger people. Here's just a quick before and after. Jesus before he smokes weed and Jesus after he smokes weed. As you can tell, there's a big upgrade here. Without weed, he is mid. Faith will be peak again. Thank you for listening. Cameron thought my presentation was very cool and impressive, so afterwards I didn't have to eat any extra gummies and I was free until hour 10. Something I didn't foresee is that these activities would not take nearly as long as the 5-hour time slots between them allowed for. So I had a lot of free time. All that free time meant lots of hours on TikTok while high, which perfectly transitioned into the hour 10 challenge. I ate a gummy and Cameron spun the very giant and real wheel, and I got watch TikTok and make a top 5 list of the best ones you find. I had already been grinding TikTok for a few hours, so I knew I could make the most fire top 5 TikToks. I scrolled for a few more hours because I wanted a varied sample group of videos. After my many hours of hard labor were over, I meticulously handcrafted the perfect videos from my likes. First, I started off with a beautiful penthouse view of Cameron's favorite city in Chongqing, China, followed by this Roblox depiction of a child abduction, which I felt Cameron could relate to very well. I did a bit of a 1-2 combo here because the next video of Hezbollah is also something I imagine Cameron can relate to pretty closely. The next one was a pretty cool rock formation in Ireland, but it didn't actually matter at all because it was all set up for the grand finale TikTok of this epically laughing dog. Not gonna lie, I think that last one was the slam dunk that sealed the deal here because I had Cameron dead and I passed with flying colors. Hour 15 came, Cameron spun the wheel, and this time I had to make and drink a smoothie with all the delicious ingredients Cameron had so graciously bought me and put into the refrigerator. I had hella munchies at this point, so I was looking forward to this easy little break challenge I had gotten myself into. I opened the refrigerator and the only 2 things he had bought was cauliflower and a bottle of water. Whoa, what is this? Why are these the only things? Oh, you know, it's just a little something, you know? I'm not gonna shred cauliflower and drink it with water, bro. Cameron was thinking 3 steps ahead of me because he knew I wouldn't eat this dung. He was doing a bit of what we call in the industry throwing for content. He felt I wasn't getting high enough, and if I were to fail this challenge and eat extra gummies, it would make things a little more interesting. I won't lie, it ended up working. During hour 15, I ate a total of 3 gummies because this little pitfall he had set for me. By the time hour 20 came, I was sloshed. This was the 1 hour that we didn't spin the wheel. The idea was that I had to build a pillow fort, which would really just be me making a bed to sleep in since I was 20 hours into this challenge and I had to sleep. But before I did that, I had already passed out. So when I was awoken all groggy at hour 25, Cameron had the 4 gummies I had to eat at the ready. This was the point where it was all just pain. I had to eat 100 milligrams of edibles after waking up from my shite sleep that only lasted 5 hours. Already we had to spin the wheel again, and it was a game of hide and seek where I had to hide from Cameron for a successful 30 minutes. I won't lie though, I just went into the closet with as many blankets as I could find, covered myself, and passed out. I ended up sleeping the whole time again, and to be honest, I woke up sloshed again and royally fricked from the residual hour 25 gummy load. As I awoke, Cameron came to me with an extremely devious smile and said, "Hey man, you gotta go to the kitchen. I got you something special for hour 30. Come on, big guy." So I got up feeling like I had just gotten hit by a car and waddled into the kitchen to see a big GoPuff bag. The wheel landed on a free spot, dude, so I got a gift for you. Oh my god. After 30 long hours of suffering, I finally have something good happening to me. I'm so hungry. I don't even care what you picked me, dude. I'll eat anything. Thank you so much. I grabbed the bag in excitement, and as I opened it, the only thing it was a super suction blue 12-inch dildo. Wow, thanks, bro. Thanks for buying me this. I actually ended up finding a lot of utility out of Cameron's epic item he got me, because the suction on the bottom made for an awesome trick shot item. So I threw this thing around the house, bottle flipping it on just about every surface I could find, until I accidentally stuck it to the ceiling and it was too high for me to retrieve. The suction on this thing was supreme. It was really stuck up there. Hour 25 was actually my favorite moment. I was tasked with making a song. I didn't have any kind of experience with music production, but Cameron did. He gave me his laptop with FL Studio to make an epic song, but he didn't actually help me at all. This song ended up taking me hours of tireless work since I had no idea how to use the application, but I seriously think I found my calling here. Once I figured out the basics, I was like Kanye West in the studio. The music was flowing through my fingertips, and I made one of the most fire songs I had ever heard. But enough talking about it, I'll just play the song for you guys. For some reason, Cameron didn't like this song though, because his head is too far up his ass. So I ended up eating an extra 2 gummies, and it was off to hour 40. The wheel spun, and what was required was a battle of willpower, discipline, and heart. I had to step outside in merely my undies while it was blisteringly cold and blizzarding, and survive standing in the snow like a Joe Rogan ice bath for 5 minutes. If I were to fail this challenge, I'd have to eat a gummy for every remaining minute on the clock, so the stakes here were higher than ever. I took a moment to collect myself, as I knew this would take an incredible amount of focus. So I did that thing you do where you sit at your bedside in the morning and take in the fact that you have to live another day on this earth. Except instead of a bed, it was on a couch side, and I was preparing for war. As I initially went outside, the cold hit me hard. Instantly, I wanted to turn back. But I saw the sinister look Cameron had in his eyes. I saw how badly he wanted to feed me all those gummies, and I was determined to prove him wrong. Against all odds, I step into the snow and shock instantly spreads throughout my entire body. I'm shivering, my teeth are chattering, but more than anything, I was persevering. With every passing second, the cold became slowly more bearable and I became slowly stronger. In the midst of this intense and cold winter, I found that there was within me an invincible summer. No matter how hard the world pushed me, there was something stronger, something better, pushing me right back. After the 5 minutes were up, I walked back into the warm indoors and felt an indescribable warmth return to my body. Unfortunately, this hour's triumph was also my last. After withstanding 40 hours high, 275 total milligrams of edibles in 5 minutes in the snow, it was just too much stress for my body. I passed out for good right at the home stretch and didn't get back up to finish all 50 hours. While I lost the challenge, the lifelong lessons I learned throughout the excruciating pain I endured these 2 days made up for it. Maybe another day I'll have to try this again and succeed, but anyways, that's the video. Subscribe, bye! I also have a second channel now, so subscribe to this Ninja Plus.
I hate to say it, but at this point, Gen Z is a bunch of old heads. Pretty soon here, we're gonna be sleeping in rocking chairs on some 65 plus activity. I'm gonna be recording scripts with my dentures falling out. We might even start complaining at Whole Foods. But while it's pretty scary to turn into a certified geezer, when you consider what Gen Alpha's becoming, I think there's fatter fish to fry here. Every passing day feels like new information drops on Gen Alpha's disintegrating mind. I don't know about you, but if I was born and raised on YouTube Shorts, my brain would be Dusty Depot, my face would be Greasy Grove, and I'd smell like Moisty Meyer. Gen Alpha's daily activity currently involves maxing out their parents' credit cards on Roblox, and then addressing them by their first name. If I pulled something like that at the ripe age of 8, I'd have been subjugated to unspeakable tortures. Let's say I were to make a video about the types of kids in Gen Alpha. We'd have the skibbity soldier, the iPad addict, the illiterate individual, and the cooked Christopher. To put it in perspective, when I was a kid, I ran off Capri Suns and Uncle Grandpa. Did I turn out well? No. But with Gen Alpha being comprised of Cocomelon AI YouTube Kids content and Guava Ice Elf bars, I can't imagine it's an upgrade. You see, pregnant women are like blenders. You put food into them for 9 months until they output a final result. However, the nutrition options for Gen Alpha babies are not looking good. Eat 1 Kaniak combo and that's another Aiden Ross viewer for the world. Eat 2 combos and that's a lifelong Neon sub. And personally, if I walked in on my son watching a kick streamer, I'd abandon him in the Sahara Desert. Because the content Gen Alpha is consuming has got to be the most brain-numbing, ice-dwelling slop I've ever seen. Let's take out the big one first, Skibbity Toilet. This dominates Gen Alpha. People are calling it Gen Alpha's first meme. So you're probably expecting me to dog on Skibbity Toilet, right? Well, actually, I like Skibbity Toilet. I watched the whole series and I acquired a fine taste for its intricate lore and world building. Certifiably, I fuck with the toilets heavy. I'm talking about the content where the blue guy gets fat as fuck and drowns to death. Putting your kids on TikTok with the iPad mini and subjecting them to 10 hours of TikTok per day has gotta be a low-level lobotomy. Gen Alpha babies have been cooked in the monkey baby bonbon and lanky box oven for their whole life. And now that they're older, the repercussions are starting to show themselves. Because these kids can't read. Gen Alpha kids cannot read words. They look at books and see Minecraft rune enchantments in the letters. This is what happens when people who play Valorant start to have kids. The amount of reports from teachers saying that they can't get their students to read or listen is crazy. I can't blame those kids though. The Skibbity syndrome does hit pretty hard. But as a professional, I have a solution for the problem. Classrooms should have all students wear Apple Vision Pros and augment Minecraft parkour on the whiteboard to help them focus. That'd be sick. And it'd double to help with the kids' abhorrent iPad addiction. Gen Alpha loves their iPads. It turns out that when you give kids the iPad, they want to keep the iPad. So now that those iPad kids are inevitably getting dropped off at daycare, iPad-less with no money and some $8 shoes, they've started to snap. And I don't imagine you want to be caught as the kid with the iPad at Gen Alpha daycare. These kids will be eyeing you down like you pulled up to O-Block with $10,000 in an open briefcase while wearing a cartoonish propeller hat. The only thing that helped them is some clothes from TakeYourTime.store. Sorry, that wasn't a very clever plug. But also, Gen Alpha's clearly been dealt a bad hand damn. They're starting off like an Elden Ring strength build with no intelligence or strength. But once you start adding artificial intelligence into the mix, you start to realize these kids are done for. Between me and you, I was a terminal cheater in school. I had the Quizlet Chegg Mathway subscription combo. I wasn't doing squat back in school. But at least I had to thank for myself when it came to cheating. AI just does everything for you. Implant these kids with an Elon Musk Neuralink and they'll become the Quizlet subscription. There's not going to be a single thought required for Gen Alpha to make. But long term, I can't lie, I'm morbidly curious how these kids will turn out. Imagine once Gen Alpha is old enough to be in high school and have jobs. This generation's gonna be like a human experiment to observe. If we're being honest with ourselves, I can't even hold a regular job at McDonald's. It's too hard for me. I can't imagine the TikTok-pilled AI kids holding these jobs either. It's really about to be a dystopia. I think the only occupation Gen Alpha has over us is working the front lines in the military. All that skibbity toilet consumption probably has them primed for international warfare. But I've been dogging Gen Alpha for a while now. But something I'm truly afraid of is that I'm just like them. I mean, I do like Skibbity Toilet, but when you look at the exhibit of content we used to watch at Gen Alpha's current age, things don't look good for us. Back in the day, these MLG videos used to go hard, but looking back, I'd imagine most adults would assume I'm doomed for liking those. MLG videos are so bad nowadays, but I couldn't see it at the time. If you ever watched those Shrek compilation videos, those are pretty much the same as Skibbity Toilet too. But even more brain rot is YouTube poop. I got this video on Instagram Reels a couple days ago with SpongeBob repeatedly throwing the patty into a fan and it shits all over Squid. This still made me laugh to this day, which made me feel like Gen Alpha is pretty similar to me. But I've also got one first-hand experience in my life that makes me think that Gen Alpha could truly be a different breed than us. What if I were to tell you recently I had a first-person run-in with a real-life Gen Alpha child? I was at the park with my boys playing the classic basketball game Around the World. Why weren't we just playing basketball? Well, unfortunately, we're all white boys. White boys do it different in certain methods, and basketball is not one of them. We're shooting missed hoops for about 30 minutes until this mom walks over to us like, "My son Axel really wants to play with you boys." And immediately, I knew the boy Roderick was trying to get some good boy points with the mom, so he's like, "Of course we can play with your son." And just like that, we had a group of grown-ass adult dudes playing basketball with a 7-year-old. This situation was a little awkward because none of us wanted to use that sailor talk around the kid, and the kid himself just wasn't saying anything at all. So I try and strike up a conversation with the kid like, "So you ever watch YouTube, lil bro?"
Yeah.
Damn, alright, so like, what do you like to watch? I'm trying to bait out the Skibbity Toilet answer because I want to see if it's true that these kids are all addicted to it. But Axel hits me with the,
I like secret room videos.
I don't know what a secret room video is, but we all hit him with the, "Oh yeah, I love secret rooms." So you like Skibbity Toilet? I cut right to the chase, but as it turned out, he was like,
I love Skibbity Toilet.
to then immediately run away from us, scour through a backpack, and come back with his iPad. He pulls the thing out and starts pulling up YouTube like,
You guys want to watch it?
as if he wasn't already going through the motions of pulling it up. We all look at each other like, the fuck is this kid doing? But we allow the kid to show us Skibbity Toilet. He just sits on the ground, starts scrolling Skibbity Toilet shorts, and sings along to the videos while making our entire group stand around him and watch. I don't know why he started showing this to us, but it made us have to completely stop the game. This would normally make me a little bit angry, but I can't lie. Watching this kid was a spectacle. I was also on Roderick's side with winning mom points, so I was willing to sacrifice my fun for the greater good here. And as I stood there looking over a 7-year-old child sing Skibbity Toilet to me, all I could think is how I'm growing into an old man, and damn, these kids are cooked. Anyways, go to takeyourtime.store and buy something. When it comes to high school, we all have shit memories. Nobody's decision making will be depthful when they don't have consciousness. Even when it was good, it was never all that good. Today, I'm unfortunately here to recall upon a time that has fallen down in infamy. It was a certified bad time. Back in 11th grade, we needed to up the ante and raise the stakes on a daily basis, merely to keep entertained and probably alive with our hormone brains. So we concocted this half-scheme
team idea to smoke gold. And what I meant by that was to roll a golden joint. Surely an absolute premium experience to be had. We wanted that man in the moon weed to get us out of this motherfucking world and to place into our wraps made of gold. But that wasn't enough. We had the brilliant idea of suggesting a boys' feast this night, featuring a steak, a beautiful steak, as the main dish. We fancied ourselves sophisticated philosophers and men of taste. The philosophers in question being me, Roman, Roderick, and Adam. Our combined brain power told us we needed to act fast, or else Adam's plug may take a nap. So Adam texted him at lunch real quick to secure a dub before Mans hit his afternoon weed coma. After school, we hopped in the whip and skirted off. Questing with the boys was never any lightweight situation, you understand. A Socratic philosophical debate carried out inside revolving around how much coinage was required for the night's festivities. If we pooled our money, we had $47, which was probably enough to buy the steak and the weed that we wanted. We pulled up to Safeway and parked the whip to commence the shopping. This was my first time buying meat to cook. I didn't know what to look for, and neither did anyone else. We bought the steak, got in, and got the fuck out of there like that. Adam's plug lived right up the hill, so we zoomed up the hill right after and filled into his basement like weed gnomes. When we got the ZAAAAAAAA, we tell him about our quest and ask him if he knows how or where we could find golden wraps. He goes, "Hold on," as he pulls out a golden cone and a small piece of gold paper. "You can either have a pre-roll for 20 or the filter for free, but you can't have both." This is what I meant when I said high school was shite. This moment right here should have been it all. Anyways, the boys mentally connect for a moment and confirmed that we're all like, fuck this guy. So we grab the filter and head out. Before we leave, he gives us 3 shops that wouldn't card, according to him. With 2 of the 3 ingredients scored, everybody hopped back in Adam's car and set course for the first shop. We for real felt like American navies in this moment. Brave seamen who ventured into unknown waters for booty. As we pulled into the parking lot, Adam said he wanted to go in first. So we blessed his ass with ancient prayers before exiting the vehicle. He comes back empty-handed and looking a tad unnerved. He explains that he went in to find a really chill, young-looking guy behind the counter. But as he started to browse around, he noticed that there was a bit of a switch up. An old guy sat crossing his arms and glaring at Adam from where the other guy was. This did not vibe with Adam very well, so he bolted out the door before he let anything else happen. Exhibit 19 as to why high school sucks. The shit you have to risk your literal life and limb over was never worth it. Looking back, this was not worth the amount of trouble we could have gotten into. From here on out, we decided to call the places to ask if they had any specialty wraps, but the second and third shops that the plug had given us were a no-go. So we decided to Google 24 karat gold weed wrapping paper for sale near me. This turned up some interesting results, and after some more Googling, we narrowed it down to one shop that might have had it. At this point, we're impatient and morally sabotaged after escaping a nearly fatal encounter with the last. As we're pulling into this decrepit looking empty strip mall, we consult the lexicon and find a ritual of protection for our boy Roderick. We gotta buff him with Dark Moon Blade before sending our man out into the fray of Dark Root Garden, bro. This motherfucker Roman starts chanting inaudibly. We wrap up our blessings and Roderick steps out ready to face our collective demons. Adults in authority positions in possession of shit that we want. We wait 5 minutes, then like 8, and then about 10 minutes go by and there's still no sign of him. Finally, he comes out and it looks good. He's got that little grin we all knew meant good things. Roderick went sexy beast mode and not only found the wraps, but convinced this guy that he was 21 enough to buy them. So we had the wraps, we had the ZAAAAAAA, we had the steak, and we had our magical, precious filter. All that was needed now was to assemble the stones like Thanos and rip fat tokes of this golden excellence. Adam's parents still hadn't gotten home yet, so we zoomed over there to prepare the feast. Adam cracks out the pan while Roman and Roderick take over the cooking preparations. Everyone crowds around the cooking skillet watching the steak come up as Adam tries to roll the joint. The problem was that we had not expected the golden wrapping paper to be as thin and slippery as it was. Adam's fingers couldn't really get a good tuck going and fold the paper over. Micro weed nuggets start falling out, and I foresee what is about to happen before it does. This moment is God sent. I prophesized the fall of the joint. As we're all there admiring this magnificent cut of beef sizzling on the burner, Adam's hands dip down low, causing every single last crumb of weed to roll out the tip into the steak. Nobody says anything. Then, without saying a word or anything out loud, we all lean forward and start trying to inhale the sizzling weed crumbs off the frying pan. But of course, it doesn't work, so we all cry and piss ourselves for the rest of the night. And that's why high school is ass. Remember the height of quarantine when all we did was rot in our bedrooms trying to figure out which TikTok bedroom we'd all sleep in? Those were some good times. And if you think about it realistically, those months were probably miserable for most of us. My time in quarantine had me getting legitimately fat, but I speak for the majority when I say we'd all take that any day over being a member of society. I don't know if the cause of lockdown was the government plotting from the shadows, a viral leak from some scientific laboratory, or if it really was a Chinese dude eating a bat at the market like some dudes were saying. And I'm obviously not the most qualified person to speak on this because I'm a YouTuber, but man, what I can say is at this point, I'd be willing to sacrifice myself and personally fly all the way to China and eat a few bats of my own if that's what it really takes to bring back the good days. So let's go back 1 week prior to the COVID lockdown on that last day of school before spring break 2020. Lil Uzi had finally dropped Eternal a Take and everyone was listening with their AirPods in class waiting for that sweet week off of school. During those days, there was some talk of the coronavirus, but nobody really took it too seriously at this point. We didn't think it was gonna spread over to the United States, and as students, we didn't really care. The only thing that we wanted to do was not go to school. So once school actually did get off, there wasn't a second of downtime before the gang all hopped on Fortnite with an entire week ahead of us to grind for the golden Ronaldo skin, blissfully ignorant of what was to come. Now personally, I had actually gotten myself into quite the peculiar situation during week 1 of spring break, because on the first day before any kind of lockdown was announced, I got on a bus and left. So when the lockdown was officially announced, I had to stay at the homie Tony's house for a whole week until I could catch a bus home, and that officially began the first week of lockdown. At this point, it wasn't really thought of as lockdown though. It was seen more like spring break 2. And once people got news of the spring break extension, they went even deeper into the degenerate activity they were on. Dudes went from playing Fortnite all day to living in salty springs, from scrolling TikTok 8 hours at a time to becoming e-girls, from drinking all night to drinking all day. What I'm saying is that 2 weeks off from all responsibilities hit different and gave people way too much free time. This was also the time when social distancing first started to be enforced. But in the case of being bunkered down with Tony, social distancing wasn't really a possibility for us. We just played PS4 and drank smoothies all day, and it was probably the peak of my life. While the world was just starting to burn, me and Tony had an unlimited strawberry supply at his house for the infinite smoothie glitch. But that lifestyle would come to an end quickly. After the week passed, I had to say goodbye to my paradise with the homie Tony. It was time to get on home and have my first day of a lockdown lifestyle. By the time week 3 of lockdown rolled around was when people started to realize that this shit was real shit. Because public school had officially gone virtual at this point, and ain't nobody about to do all that. I was dodging these virtual assignments as if they didn't have real world consequences. I was just too deep in the Fortnite grind. I had to get the Ronaldo skin. It wasn't just me though. I don't know a single person who didn't just drop school altogether after attempting their first online assignment. happen. But what really sealed the deal on dropping school was when I shaved my entire head bald, because there's no way I was about to show up in a Zoom call with my monkey looking head ass. So I just opted out of school to avoid the humiliation. This may just be my collective friend group I speak for here, but every guy I knew shaved their heads bald at this point. 3 weeks locked in the bedroom had us on the same mental stability as the Joker. We were all going insane. We saw this as our life's only chance to be bald without social repercussions. But crossing that 2-month line is when we all truly started to deteriorate as humans. There's no easy way for me to say this next part, but the lack of physical activity had me gaining some weight. And coupled with my new hairstyle, I was unfortunately fat and bald at 18 years old. My sleep schedule was just as bad as my haircut too. I was going to bed at sunrise and waking up at 3 p.m. like Batman. The amount of nights I'd try and pull an all-nighter in an attempt to save my circadian rhythms, only for it to completely backfire and make it worse, is beyond me. And just as my sleep schedule couldn't withstand 2 months of lockdown, my grades could not withstand 2 months of missed assignments. My report card was failing all across the board. But about this time was when the most historic moment of the lockdown happened. The school board started stressing that this year's grade point average was gonna be a 0.2 and had no choice but to pull the plug. So they officially announced that every assignment beyond lockdown didn't count towards final grades. I remember just how joyous this news was to me, and considering how everything else in life was falling apart, it hit different to hear some good news for a change. I guess you could partially thank me for not doing my assignments and saving all of America's GPAs collectively. So when the school year eventually ended around month 3, summer break made absolutely no difference on our lives. This is when the weeks really started to blend together and things got bad. That social isolation was really starting to get to me at this point. Spending every waking moment grinding my life away for Golden Peely was bad for my mental. It got to the point where I now have no memory of even my family during quarantine. I have no clue what the people in my own home were getting up to. The only change I made in my day-to-day was eventually switching from Fortnite to this game called Fishing Planet, and that was definitely a downgrade that reflected my mental state. At this point, I felt like I was really starting to fail as a human being. I don't know if anyone else would do this, but after staying indoors all day, I needed to get outside. So every few nights around midnight, I would just walk around dark and empty neighborhoods by myself. Those late night walks all alone through empty neighborhoods in an attempt to get outside started to hit deep. So I decided to get myself a job for the summer. So after doing a bit of searching, I eventually found a car wash that would take me. I worked there for a solid week or two before I just stopped showing up. I didn't last very long re-entering the real world. My time indoors had my mental discipline deteriorated. Coupled with the fact that I was still fat, I was working outdoors in the Arizona summer sun, and the whole time I had to wear a mask, it just wasn't something I could do. The only thing that got me through those shifts was watching Avatar on my lunch breaks because Netflix had just added the show.
But Ninye, you only didn't enjoy quarantine because you spent your time poorly.
That is true. Most of us spent quarantine rotting and probably didn't do shit when we could have been out hustling. If I went back, I probably would have read a book or two. Get my intelligence up, you know? Maybe I wouldn't be so stupid if I did that. If there was a tier list for things to do in quarantine, gaming all night would probably be a C. Sleeping all day would probably be D tier because that never feels good. Eating terribly like I did would be an F because being unhealthy like Rick Ross like that is just a terrible feeling. And not exercising would probably also be an F because it's just gonna get me built like Rick Ross even quicker. But it is what it is. And now that I say it all out loud, I don't think I particularly missed the COVID lockdown. The next few months that followed weren't all that different from the last few that already weren't that great. It's like looking back on it, all the pain and misery just despawns from our memories, and all that remains is how we had nothing to do. It's easy to compare any kind of work we have to do now to the whole lot of nothing we had to do then and wish for it to come back, but that life is just not sustainable. And also millions of people died because of COVID, so that's also a downside to consider. Either way, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye. The relationship with the plug is more impactful on your life as that of your parents. But what precedes that relationship with the plug is a constant and brooding struggle to find the one. Those moments when you struggle to find a plug at the climax of a dark and damp boys' night, it's a formative canvas canon event that bonds us all. Sometimes you come out the trenches dry and you and your boys throw in the towel on finding a plug. But when the gang clutches up and secures that last minute plug for the night, the moment is nothing shy of pure bliss. I can't imagine any other scenario more intense. And an intense night was surely ahead of me and the boys, when a very tantalizing Friday night opportunity presented itself during the before school round table discussion. Boys, who's trying to get into a little trouble tonight? Oh, you couldn't possibly mean. I think you lads know exactly what I mean. Alright, so you got any of that skiddly diddly hopscotch diddle drip on you, bro? Nope. Yeah, my pockets are empty. Oh, damn. Well, I guess we've got to get a plug on our hands. And right then, phase 1 of the plug struggle began. As all desperate high schoolers do when in need of a little grass, we all spammed everyone we have added on our Snapchat. We all tried different approaches, starting with the simple and to the point method. Anyone got grass? We tried the desperate attempt. Hey, bro, please, does anyone have weed? I need it so bad, bro. And we even tried the really desperate method. Hey, bro, would you trade a couple dozen tamales for a perk? And by the time the gang got back together after our first few periods, it was like, all right, boys, let's see the plugs for tonight. What did you all get? The only snap I got back was a picture of this girl's forehead. What about you guys? I got the left side of her face, but I think she wants me, bro. Damn, all I got was left undelivered by Team Snapchat. I think it was safe to say phase 1 was a complete train wreck. So next was on to phase 2. The second phase of our plug struggle was just straight up going up to every group we could find at lunch and asking them if they had a plug. Yo, you guys got a plug?
Yeah, so let's see, we got iPhone plugs. Let's see, we got another iPhone plug. What do you have, Sarah? Oh, let's see, I got an iPhone plug.
You guys know a plug? Listen here, little boy. Bow down when you talk to me so I can hold you still and make sweet love to that little pretty face. Yo, you guys know a plug I can use for tonight? Oh, yeah, bro. Here, I'll give you a snap. And just like that, Roman brought all of the boys together. For phase 2 of the plan was a monumental success. The anticipation for this night followed the three of us until school finally let out and we could make the moves towards phase 3, messaging the plug. So we hit him up like, hey bro, we're trying to acquire tonight. You up, baby? And he's like, yeah man, meet me here at 9 p.m. tonight. And just like that, we had a time and place. The plug struggle was really looking like it was coming to an end. It was a bright future for the boys. So when night fell, we all sat there on Roderick's bed, kicking our legs and twiddling our thumbs for the clock to strike 9. And once the time came, we all sprinted out the house and drove 150 miles an hour to the location. But when we got to the spot, we were starting to get a really bad feeling. As it turned out, the location this plug wanted to meet us at had to be the most suspect, dark, and desolate public park we could have ever been to. We're looking around for this guy from the car and don't see anyone. We thought there was gonna be no time before red and blue lights start flashing. But then we get a Snapchat from the plug like, is that you that just pulled up? And we're like, yeah, that's us. So then he replies with, come into the playground. I'm in the fucking slide. The three of us walked into the playground and bro was not lying. He was sitting in the slide. So what you guys want tonight? We want weed. I know, but like, we would like a joint for the each of us. Oh, I only got carts. Damn, all right, well that's cool, we'll take that. So we make the exchange and this dude only gives us the cart with no battery. So what about the battery, bro? Oh, I don't sell batteries, I only have carts. We thought this guy was scamming us. I mean, we can't do this shit with just a cart. But that's when the plug explains tweaker wires to us. Yeah, man, all you gotta do is cut a phone charger in half and you can use the wires to power the battery. It gets you really high though, so be careful. Oh, wow, so the girls at school did know what they were talking about. Now, we didn't want to question this plug anymore because we weren't about to get pushed down a slide or whatever this dude would do to us. So the three of us just trusted his word even though that sounded like it couldn't possibly work and considered phase 3 a kind of success. So we drove back to Roderick's and phase 4 to smoke the carts was initiated. We were stressing about the information this plug told us and if it was true or not. Alright, so who's gonna be the sacrifice to try this first? I don't know, bro. What if this explodes in our faces and kills us? Damn, true. It can't be that bad. I feel like nothing's gonna happen. So you wanna do it? I'm down, bro. I'll be the sacrifice. Oh, damn. So we set up the wires like the plug told us and Roderick starts sucking plucking this cart out of an iPhone charger. Yo, no way. Ain't no way that's working, bro. Bro, do you feel high? Did it really work? Bro, it's like I hit the cart, but the house was the battery. No way. He's for sure high, dude. So what's it feel like? Is it good for us to smoke? Dude, I mean, help yourself, but this shit is hitting me like a fucking semi-truck. Roderick got ubiquitously sent into the shadow realm from that hit. It turns out that when you use tweaker wires, it makes you tweak. The electricity heats up the oil way hotter than a battery does, which in turn puts more weed particles into the inhalation, and in turn makes you higher than you could ever imagine. Damn, I guess it's either we get too high or we aren't high at all. Nah, man. I know one way. I know a method. I didn't want to do this, but my cousin can get some for you guys. Oh, for real? All right. So what's his number? It's 54. No, I think it's 4954. No, nah, that ain't it. I think it's 4594. No, that's not it. Bro is too high. Damn. We ended up having to unlock Roderick's phone with his Face ID and texted his cousin on his behalf. Hello, yes, this is Roderick, and I would like to attain some weed for my two friends. That sounds professional, bro. And after like 30 minutes, Roderick's cousin pulls up and takes me and Roman to the dispensary. This car ride was so awkward because since Roderick was completely obliterated, he didn't end up coming with us. But cousin Roderick pulled through and got us a battery so we could smoke the cart. After that side quest, we came back to Roderick to see that in the time we were gone, bro postmated Burger King twice. You gotta be on another planet to order Postmates twice, let alone Burger King. He had a POV video of some dude walking through China pulled up on his TV, but upon further inspection, Roderick was completely passed out on the bed with a double whopper still in his hand. But in the end, even though we had one soldier down, phase 4 was a success as well. Me and Roman finally got to smoke the cart, and the plug struggle we went through prior only made the high hit even better. And once we got high, I won't lie, those China videos Roderick had on started to hit. We were straight up entranced by this video, and we came out of this with a whole new appreciation for our plug. So make sure to text your plug you love them and if you can get free weed from them. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye. Here's a big one. You people have wanted this. My first time getting high, as it goes for most people, was a crazy experience. Now, I was at my friend Roderick's house. He's a classic guy. He's in just about every story that I tell at this point. Roderick's house was not like any other house. He lives in luxury. A luxury that a poor, under the poverty line boy like me will flip his shit when he sees. I mean, he's got a piano as you walk into his house. He's got a projector as a TV in his living room. This is the shit you see LA YouTubers live in. He lives in the Incredibles mansion. So Roderick was the weed expert that was going to show me his ways, and I was his apprentice. And this wasn't just my first time smoking weed. I should mention it was also my friend Roman's. The three of us were all sleeping over together this night inside Roderick's nice-ass house. Roderick was the real homie this night because he said, we can't just smoke a wax pen on both of your guys' first time. We gotta get our hands on the real stuff. What we had to do first was acquire the weed because we didn't have anything at this point. So we were going through the process of asking everyone that we knew on Snapchat if they knew somebody that sells weed until we finally landed on one guy. We pull up to his place and it's not scary at all. But this is my first drug deal. I'm anxious in my mind. What if this dude's got a gun? What if he kills us in cold blood? But then this dude comes out of his house with these big ass goggle glasses. He looked like a real dork. This motherfucker was a certified bozo. We could have given this dude a wedgie for the weed. Once we drove off with the weed, we all just burst out laughing because we were expecting the exact opposite of this guy. We had acquired our first weed. Roman and I were just marveling at its beauty. We felt the weed, we smelt the weed, but most importantly, we wanted to smoke the weed. Before we stopped back at Roderick's, we drove to the gas station and he was like, I'll be back in a minute. This won't take long. He comes back with a bottle of Sprite, a pack of gum, a pencil, and a straw. Yo, what is this all for, bro? You'll see, bro. You will see. So we drive back to Roderick's place, run to his bedroom, and assemble all of our stuff. Roman and I just sit back while Roderick works his magic. He drinks the whole Sprite bottle, takes a gum wrapper, and wraps it over the top. He pokes some holes in the wrapper, and then he stabs the side of the bottle and sticks a straw in. And just like that, we had our own homemade bong made. It was a pretty jank way to smoke weed, and it didn't work all that effectively, but we had to make do with what we had. We were on limited resources. So we smoked out the Sprite bottle. And I don't know what was in this weed, but it affected Roman and I in a way weed has never before since then. In my going for a walk on mushrooms video, I mentioned how the mushrooms made my vision like in Minecraft, how your FOV can increase. In my experience, that's pretty usual for mushrooms, but this was the one and only time that I've had this effect solely from weed. And it wasn't just me. Roman had the same experience with his vision. It was so weird. I don't know what was in this goddamn weed, but it had us looking at things crazy. I was so goddamn giggly too that I just couldn't get enough of these guys. I laughed at everything. It didn't stop. After you smoke a good amount of times, I feel like the giggles eventually just go away. But the first time I had the laughs. Then the fabled munchies kicked in and we had no remorse for the kitchen. We started tearing through everything like savages. There was a fruit bowl in the middle of the kitchen, so I went, "Don't mind if I do," and wiggled my little fingers. I picked out an apple, and there was a fly on the apple, and I don't know why, but this fly scared me. I mean, I don't fuck with bugs, so I threw the apple, I projectile tossed it across the living room, and it hit right into a framed painting and shattered the glass. I don't feel good about this even today, but luckily the painting itself wasn't damaged, and his parents were not home at the time. It was fucking loud. They would have known what happened. So we started to panic, but thankfully Roderick is the real homie because he vacuumed up the glass for us. Lord knows, neither of our asses could have functioned a vacuum in our current state. And by this time, I started fucking up the Pop-Tarts, and I just forgot about what happened. I wasn't joking when I said we were savages. We were on a real ruffian shit. Roman went back to the room first with his snacks, and as I followed behind him, I entered the room to see that he was unclothed. He was only wearing his undies. He was sitting on Roderick's bed, eating a family bag of chips and watching YouTube videos. I feel like it's almost a universal experience where people smoke weed for the first time and search videos to watch while high on YouTube. And the same videos always just come up too. I know that you have seen this cartoon before. This video had us mesmerized. It was beautiful. We went on a YouTube binge for like over an hour or so, and I couldn't tell you how it happened, but we eventually ended up on Diary of a Wimpy Kid YouTube. We were just enjoying some classics like Greg Heffley is a Sociopath. After we got bored of YouTube, we put on some lo-fi beats, and Roderick had this light projector that put stars all over the walls, and we fell into a slumber. I was paranoid the following week or so because I thought his parents would have noticed the painting frame that I broke, but they never really did. Because of me, there's a painting with no glass in his house, and to this day, nobody has really noticed it at all. So that was the story of the first time I smoked weed. Okay, bye-bye. At one point, we've all consumed more substances than we can take and lost some sort of bodily function. Whether that's the loss of literal control over your body or the loss of your mind, so you just act on all of your primal monkey thoughts, either way, something is lost. So even if this story is the highest I've ever been, if you've watched me for long enough, you'll know that the only thing that I lose is my shame. I have an ability to hard body substances without ever dropping. So at least originally, this night was going to be planned as a mushroom trip between me, Roman, Adam, and Roderick. And I'll just skip the scene setting because I know you just want to see the drugs. So me and Roman pick up 6 grams of shrooms, stop by the Holy Land for snacks, arrive at Adam's luxurious estate, and get inside to prepare for the Ninja content farm. Also, Cameron was there too, so let's not forget about him. Round of applause for Cameron. Although he was going to be sober and exclusively doing homework on his MacBook this night. So you got the stuff, my brotherin? Yeah, bro, I got it right here. Let's just bust this bad boy open. We got gypped, and the plug only gave us 4 grams. So the 4 of us ended up only eating 1 each. Right after eating these mushrooms, Adam, Roderick, and Roman ran off to probably smoke, but me, I'm more reserved than that. I made the respectable decision to stay back and help Cameron with his homework. And it wasn't because I like him or anything. So me and him bust through a good chunk of these questions until these words start to become a little hard to read. And these mushrooms are making my belly feel a little queasy. Those 3 goons that left before bust through the door and instantly and simultaneously start explaining how the mushrooms feel to Cameron for some reason. It's really cool, bro. It makes me feel really cool. Yeah, it's awesome, bro. It feels superfluously awesome. It makes me feel alive. It makes me want to take someone's life. In between my upset tummy and the juxtaposition from solo Cameron time, it felt like I got punched. Boys, I want to do homework right now. Frick you, bro. Fuck off, bro. What are you talking about? I was being bullied. You know what? I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Oh my god. Despite us all having just 1 gram each, they were enough. These were some strong guys. As I had that moment to myself and overcame the queasy, I left the bathroom and everyone was gone. Although, I heard faint music from the porch. As I walked out, I see these 4 are smoking a big dog style cigar in the snow outside, and Cameron was making beats in Logic Pro. Ooh, there's the big homework, baby. What'd you do in the bathroom, bro? Put a diaper on? Did you put a diaper on in the bathroom? Fug homework, bro. Check this out. This was my snapping point. My friends were relentlessly bullying me, and I had to do something now to redeem the great Ninja name I was known for. Give me that cigar, boys. Check this out. Damn, bro, you're not supposed to inhale it. This didn't exactly hit the way I thought it would, but in this moment, a shining opportunity presented itself. Who wants weed, boys? So all of us, minus Cameron, scurry our little feet downstairs, into the garage, and hop in Adam's classic weed Porsche. Adam pulls out the big dog bong, and I knew this was the time. This was the moment I would fully redeem my stained legacy and go down a legend. I got handed the bong first, and as I held it, all my memories flashed through me like visions. When Roderick called me a homework baby, when Roman said I wore diapers, it would all be sanctified in this moment. I lit up, and as I'm sucking on this bong, I don't let go. I take the biggest bong rip of my life until my lung capacity can't take a single more milliliter of smoke. As I exhaled, the entire car is filled with smoke, and I'm coughing like Walter White. This shit hearted. Afterward, I just lay down in the back of the car while my body recovered. The bong was passed around a few rotations, but I couldn't take any more, so I just waited until we all finally got out. And once I stood up, I realized how high I was. So as we all stumble back to the bedroom, I go up to Cameron and I ask him, "Bro, let me see the laptop, bro." I had a golden joke cooking. I sit down with Roman in an attempt to open Google Images, search for Patrick Bateman, and my joke was gonna be that I said that was Cameron doing his homework. But I only got to search Patrick in the search bar before I hit enter, which brought up Patrick's star, which had this image from an Amazon link to a Funko Pop that the 2 of us found a lot funnier than the original joke would have been. But then I took it further by clicking on the image, bringing me to Amazon where I bought it. I bought the Funko from Cameron's laptop on his account with his card and shipped it to his parents' house. I was on fire. I was in my element here. Then Adam brings out the vodka and I'm chugging that thing like a Division I football player. Then Adam brings out the canned wine and I'm chugging those things like a Division I football player. I had completed the holy trinity of substances: earth, water, fire, but I was missing air. And I don't normally do this, but I start ripping Roderick's vape. And with all these substances combined into me, I was just like Avatar Aang. I guess my mind was still on SpongeBob because I really wanted Cameron to play the outro song from SpongeBob on his MacBook. But the video Cameron brought up wasn't just the SpongeBob outro. It was, I put the SpongeBob outro over the end of humanity. And as soon as this video came up, I had another golden bit to come to me. One that would even top the Funko Pop one. Cameron, hold your laptop up so that everyone can see. Boys, this video is something I've worked very hard on over the past few years, and I'm so happy to finally have it come to fruition. You didn't make that, bro. That's a YouTube video. They want you to believe that. But let me continue. As you know, my YouTube channel has grown at an extremely fast rate recently, and I wanted to celebrate the monumental achievement of 200,000 subscribers with a celebration that's fitting. So I've planted 200,000 bombs across New York City, and what you're seeing now is live drone footage broadcasted from my channel. But it's not just New York. The more subscribers I get, the more bombs I plant, until even we are engulfed by fire and explosion. It's just my way of saying thank you for all of the support I've received thus far. As you can imagine, that bit killed it. I could confidently say that my name was saved from the disaster of earlier that night. I walked out of the room and into Adam's library, basking in glory. Like I said, he has a luxurious estate. He has a library. And still vaping, I sit on his oversized reading throne until I passed out for the night. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye.
This was probably the least intelligent moment of my entire life. Unintentionally getting high for 3 consecutive days. This happened back when I lived with roommates. I had one roommate that would always buy those storage jars to put his food into. Unknowing to me, he had a jar of very special gummy bears that would sit on the kitchen counter in full view from anywhere in the living room. These special gummy bears, due to the jars he would put them in, were completely unmarked and proceeded to make me become an unknowing victim to their powers for the next 3 days. So I woke up at 5 a.m. like the champion beast trailblazer I am. I got my pre-workout and went out to drink it in the living room. This was when I first laid eyes on the gummy bear jar. I thought one little bear wouldn't hurt, so I eat it, drink the pre-workout, and drive to the gym. A little bit into my workout, I'm starting to feel sloshed. Damn, the pre-workout really hitting today. Sheesh, I feel like Charizard. But then it starts to get worse. I'm doing these curls like 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 6. I just can't count correctly. My mind is all scattered. I started to realize something was really off when I got on the treadmill and ran 3 miles without feeling a shred of fatigue. I was just in a mental trance the entire time I ran. I go into the locker room, and while I sit here finally with a moment to myself, I realize I probably should not drive myself home. I had to wake up the boy Roman to pick me up and also bring someone else to take my car back because I felt crazy. He pulls up with Cameron, and the operation is followed through. Are you alright, man? Yeah, I just feel different, but not bad. We get home, and I've got a Zoom class to attend in about an hour. As I'm walking to my room, I pass the gummy bears and eat another one. While I wait for my class, I remember just sitting in my chair, staring at my PC, doing nothing like a zombie. I was trying to mentally will myself into being functional for this class, but since I ate the other gummy bear as I entered my room, it just got worse. I sat in this class just staring at myself in this little Zoom camera window. The teacher even called on me at one point, but I just kept staring. I didn't say a word. It may have been from me being so high I couldn't process what was happening, but there was not a word spoken from me. I woke up this day pretty tired from the high of yesterday, but I still hadn't put 2 and 2 together and realized the bears were edibles. I had an in-person class today to attend, so I left for that pretty early and again ate a gummy on my way out. The gummy hit as I was walking to class, and I was like, God damn it, not again. What's happening to me? I keep walking to class because God picks his hardest fights for his strongest soldiers, until I realize I have no idea where I'm at. A few wrong turns had been made without me realizing it, and now I gotta figure out how to get back. I probably walk around these neighborhoods for like 30 minutes just trying to find my way back on track to get to class. But then I remember, oh yeah, I got a phone, I can use this. So I maps my way back to campus, but I had not made the calculations required to know by the time I got there, the class would be over. I walk into the lecture room that would be my class, and there's a whole different teacher in class
class going on that I attend thinking, nah, this has got to be the same class. I bet this is just a substitute. The class ends and I'm still oblivious to the fact that that was not the lecture I was meant to be in. An email pops up on my phone about my absence, and I remember replying to the email just saying not true and then walking all the way home. I had homework to do, but as I sat down to do it, I was like, yo, the teacher did not teach us this today. So I just played Elden Ring for the next 8 hours of the day. All this weed I had been consuming kind of messed up my sleep schedule because I woke up this day a good amount later than usual. So when I walked into the living room, my roommates were all awake and out there. I was like, guys, that thing keeps happening to me. I think I gotta go to the doctors today. Something's just not right with my body or something. I reach in and eat another gummy while I'm out here, but this time in full view of all my roommates. Roman's like, bro, you're really gonna eat an edible this early in the day? And just like that, all of the stars aligned in my head. I had been drugging myself on these gummy bears unintentionally for the past 3 days. So you're telling me that those are edibles? I've been eating those every single day recently. Then everyone just erupts to clown on me. These dudes couldn't act right. They're like, oh my fucking god, this dude's a dumbass. So I run into my room in tears and listen to Heartless by Kanye West. I hate my friends. Alright, that's the story. You know the drill. Bye. Studies show that men think about beating up on other dudes about 28 times daily. Thinking about it scientifically, this adds up to my everyday life. The situation of walking down the sidewalk when suddenly another dude starts walking down the same sidewalk in a conflicting fashion always has me thinking, shit, this dude's gotta be about 5'10" and 180 pounds from triangulating him from the distance of 20 meters away. But that's exactly 2 inches shorter than me. As he approaches, I'll quickly jab with my 2 extra inches of reach, immediately debilitating him on the ground. I'll kick his head to knock him unconscious, take his wallet, and walk away in a nonchalant fashion as if nothing happened. Then in reality, to just casually walk past the guy and do nothing as if this isn't how 100% of my human interactions in life have gone so far. It's like that same shit when a car drives past you at night and you imagine they're about to shoot you for no reason. It's natural instincts of violence. And an instinct of violence surely was the thing that befell my little friend group in the 7th grade. That's right, I got jumped when I was 12. It was a Friday afternoon and school had finally let off, and I was itching to let out my animal this weekend, so I hit up the boys. Except that I was 12 and I had the goddamn SpongeBob horn phone, so I needed my mom to text their moms and do all that slop. Soon enough though, the moms pulled through and I had 2 very classic buddies headed over to my house so I could let out my animal. My doorbell rings, I pitter patter over and swing that shit open. Roman's standing right there with a suitcase. Bro really came prepared for any possible situation. I mean, damn, a suitcase? But we start messing around on YouTube.com a little bit because this second individual is taking a little longer to show up to my abode. His late arrival will actually domino effect into his downfall because as me and Roman browse, we come across a very funny boy yelling about Sonic, and we want to show our other friends so badly. But in no time, my door rings, we pitter patter over to the door, swing that shit open, and standing there is none other than this little shit named Alex. Alex was a fucked up kid. He would bring boxes of Mountain Dew into class and down them as if he isn't drinking fucking Mountain Dew. If vapes were around when I was 12, he would most definitely be chiefing those johns like nobody's business. So this evil child arrives at my house, and instantly me and Roman are like, you gotta see this kid on YouTube, man. He's so funny. We watch a few videos, have a few laughs, until Alex gets a massive, sinister grin on his face and says, guys, I want to film a prank video. Which is never what you want to hear from Alex, but we didn't have enough wisdom to know that at the time. Alex specifically wanted to film a Sonic prank at the park gone wrong. And to a 12-year-old, that sounds like the most hype idea on the planet. I also just so happened to have a Sonic plush backpack in my garage as well. So we found the backpack, put it on Alex, and headed over to the park. As we got to the park, we had full view of an empty playground, empty swings, but we had
perfect sight of our victims, with 5 kids sitting on a park bench all together. So Alex takes out his iPhone to record the audio and voice memos, while Roman records the interaction on his Motorola. We honestly had no idea what Alex was about to do for his Sonic park at the prank gone wrong, but setting up the prank already had us laughing. So Alex actually starts to walk over to these kids, and as he approaches them, they all lock eyesight on him like hawks. Then Alex starts screaming the same nonsense the Sonic kid on YouTube said, like, "You guys ruined the Sonic franchise!" And the guys on the bench just look at each other like, the fuck is this kid talking about? So Alex keeps going on about this Sonic bit, and me and Roman are watching in awe. We cannot believe that he's actually seeing this through. A possible detail we may have forgot about pranks is that the camera is usually hidden and not 15 feet away in an open field. And I can't speak for this group of 5 children at the park, but I can assume an encounter with a screaming Sonic kid and 2 other kids recording from a distance may have been perceived as a disaster level threat to them. So these kids are like, "Fuck off, you damn nerds," but Alex holds his ground and keeps yapping, saying that was like their peace agreement, and since it was declined by Alex, they turned to violence. They sent out their smallest of the 5 to approach Alex like a little henchman being tasked to do dirty bidding. This kid jumps down from the park bench and a Boss health bar appears as he runs to Alex, but Alex stood his ground once again. He said, "Nah, I'd win." Then almost immediately gets picked up by this kid and thrown onto the ground like boom. He's holding down Alex on the ground and bludgeoning his head repeatedly like, damn, was the Sonic kid really that much of a threat, dude? I had never experienced conflict in my life yet, so I hadn't truly realized he was experiencing blunt damage to his head, so I still watched in awe like Big Mouth Patrick. But at this point, Alex is completely out of character. He drops the prank entirely and starts fighting for his life. Now, we let a respectful 1v1 play out for a minute in this park without interference, but it didn't take long for us to realize that this fight is not fair. Roman runs in and pulls this kid off at Alex because he's got that dog in him while I'm still watching from a distance, until one of the kid's buddies starts walking over like, "Bro, don't interfere, bro." But then, bam, Roman hits him with a cheeky blow because Roman's got that dog with the Latino blood in his veins. All the while, bro is still committing to filming the prank. Roman has been holding the phone this whole time. So that kid backs off, we retrieve the battle-scarred Alex, and we're like, "We gotta get out of here, guys. This shit got real." Alex can't hardly walk, so we gotta help him home while these kids are yelling at us like, "You deserved that!
Fuck off! That's why you're the strongest, little bro!"
While we take the walk of shame home. But this altercation wasn't over. We couldn't end on a loss. As we got home, we laid down the punished Alex in bed to revive his strength. In Fortnite terms, we brought his reboot card to the reboot van. The 3 of us were experiencing complete rock bottom mentally and had to make moves to heal. Except for Alex, because he couldn't move. And what better way to get back at bullies than firearms? So Roman and I scour the garage for our most powerful Nerf guns and made the walk back. I don't know why the fuck we did Nerf guns because the bullets don't even hurt, but we make the journey back to the park strapped like a couple of honest working red-blooded blue-collar Americans. As we pull up, we start shooting this group of kids and it inflicts no damage to them and only causes the group to all charge at us. But what I didn't mention is that the Nerf guns were only a diversion to lure in the kids as we threw our secret carton of eggs at them. After a few failed eggs, we eventually hit one of the kids and he starts running away. 2 more of them realized we had those shits on us and decided to turn around with the other kid, leaving only 2 more kids approaching us. These little boys were sprinting to beat up on us and rapidly started to approach, so I decided to fall back, but Roman held his ground. I was like, "You need to fall back!" But Roman didn't listen because as the kids got right up to him, he flipped the Nerf gun around and hit one of them over the head with the goddamn handle of the shit. Like, damn, that kid got concussed, bro. Of course the other one retreated after that, and the 2 of us returned quickly home from war. We reported back to our fallen soldier and relayed the intel of our successful reconnaissance mission. And although through all the violence of that interaction, the most painful part of this day is that Roman started seriously stressing about hitting these kids on camera. I wanted him to upload the video so badly, but he decided to delete the prank we recorded because he didn't want his mom to find out what he did to these youngins. Since that whole event happened to me at the park, I was too afraid to go back there as a kid. I didn't want to one-man the park and end up with 5 little boys ending my life and stomping on my head and my vision becoming black for pranking them about Sonic. I guess the life lesson here is that if you give into your animalistic urges of violence, don't record them for an awesome YouTube prank, because there's a chance your mom might fuck. You know what? I'm just gonna use that take.
Edibles are cheeky little buggers. You never know exactly what you'll get from them. Sometimes you'll eat one and feel nothing, sometimes you'll eat one and feel everything, and sometimes you'll eat one, think you feel nothing, so you eat another and another until all you feel is pain everywhere. The trick is simply getting them from trustworthy sources and being a little patient with the gummy. But somehow this seems too hard for most people, myself included. I was neither patient nor safe this fateful afternoon, which made for my most intense edible experience ever. Now, this was back in high school, so getting from a reliable source isn't as easy as it is now. Instead of getting the edibles from a dispensary, you have to get them from Howard, a grade above you, that claims he definitely is the Heisenberg of edibles and can cook up the best stuff. It doesn't help that I was surely at the peak of Mount Stupid on the Dunning-Kruger effect curve, where my confidence was at an all-time high with weed and my experience was very low. I was naive in the face of Howard's homemade edibles, so I bought a batch of them after school, took them home for the weekend, and prepared for an epic freaking time while I had the house to myself. You already know, before I ate these, I was showing them off to the boys. I was like, look at the fresh booty this young boy got his hands on. But I wasn't about wasting time. It was business time. It was time to eat the edibles. I started by just eating one of the 4 I had bought, and right from the moment it touched my tongue, I could taste just how weed infested these brownies were. But I got it down. Then, with every passing second, I analyzed how I felt. And when you think about time that hard, it makes it feel like it passes way slower than it actually does. What feels like 30 minutes is actually 10, and what feels like a weak edible is actually a bombshell that hasn't gone off. So I thought, this one should have hit by now. I guess it's just weak. If this is how one feels, I can definitely take an extra 2. And we all know how this goes. As all of these edibles hit at once, my body is instantly, essentially paralyzed. I got the cotton mouth of a lifetime, which marked the only time in my life where I wanted water more than pussy, money, or weed. So I just lay here like, god damn, I didn't sign up for this. So I try and roll over to get my phone and text the boys group chat that I was on my deathbed. But my body couldn't roll over without me using 100% of my brain power to do so. As I picked up my phone, it felt insanely heavy. I had the 40-pound iPhone. The phone was just way too heavy for me to pick up, so I was left with one option. I couldn't text. I had to send a voice memo. Yo, guys, this shit is hitting for real. I think I need help. Send over the reinforcements to my place. I'm dying. Which was a pretty funny message to follow from the previous one. So once the message was out, so was I. My body shut down for I don't even know how long. But when I came back into consciousness, it was like I was viewing myself laying in the bed from a third-person view. This didn't last long though, because I got back to my body pretty quickly. But for a moment there, when I saw myself, I thought that I had died and I was leaving my body, but somehow I rationalized myself out of it and thought, there's no way I'm dying. I'm just on a lot of drugs. People always think they're gonna die when they're like this. I don't know how I was able to rationalize myself out of thinking I was dying, considering how high I was, but I guess I'm just the GOAT. I can just do it. So I look over at my phone and I see that Roman is calling me. What's up, bro? Are you good, bro? Partially. Come over to my house though. So we came over with Cole and Adam, and as they rang the doorbell, I was faced with a real dilemma. Shit. How am I gonna let them into my house? So I tried to stand up, but instantly just fell on the ground. I had to crawl on the ground over to the stairs and I just fell down them. I was way too high. There was honestly no other way I could get down, but I was also so high I didn't feel pain from falling down the stairs, so it was all good. I unlocked the door still on the ground with my toes and then just kicked it as hard as I could to let them know they could come in. The 3 of them stood over my lifeless body and asked, bro, are you okay? How do you filled. So I reached into my pocket and I pulled out the last brownie. Boys, eat this. You'll know a fraction of what I've been through if you eat this. But I need water first. So I get my water, and surprisingly, the three of them just split the brownie and ate it like that. I guess high school boys are just that desperate they go feral at the sight of any free weed. I wanted to be transported to the couch, so I got picked up from my limbs and brought over to the most comfy couch I've ever felt. We turned on the TV, and the first channel that was on was Paw Patrol. It was incomprehensible to me. Then I got some of the most devilish munchies in my life. So I postmated Chipotle. But at this time, the three of these boys were also starting to feel the munchies. Despite eating that small portion of the brownies, it was hitting them enough. So Adam was like, bro, I'm so hungry. And my high ass replied, oh, me too. Don't worry, I'm gonna get Postmates. And I ordered another Chipotle burrito for me and Adam, forgetting that I had ordered the Postmates prior. I guess the group of these three guys picked up on this, so they started to get me to order as much Postmates as they could. Once the burritos started coming in, I'm freaking out because I don't understand where all of these orders are coming from. I thought I had discovered a real-life infinite food glitch because 4 different orders and 7 different burritos were delivered to my house. But alas, it was just my friends sucking me dry of every cent I have. So we got all of our burritos, brought them in a big pile, we held our hands around the burritos, and we prayed for this meal. We prayed to God and thanked him for this bountiful feast we had. And with that, there were 2 extreme lessons I learned this night. Don't buy edibles from Howard, and don't trust your friends. They will try and get as many burritos out of you as they can. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye.